Yeah, they've been grinding all year, and they're really close. Just 2 more wins.
Players getting set up here. Do we know what decks they're on? Do we have the
Yes, we do.
the deck
So
list?
Zachary's actually on that dark box, like toolbox deck.
Okay.
We haven't really seen it much, and I'm actually excited because it features a lot of the new cards from Unified Minds.
And Kenny's prizes are going to tell us
Yeah.
he's only on one deck. That is the Pikachu and Zekrom GX deck. That's the most played or second most played deck in the building today.
And there we are. Ooh, 2 Sneasels in the prizes for Zach here.
So we have not seen the Dark Toolbox deck. It's been pretty popular going into World, and I know people have been talking about it. A lot of content's been made about it, but we haven't actually seen it on camera today. I know there's a lot going on with it. Can you give us a quick overview of what Zach's deck is trying to do?
So it's very reminiscent of the Quagsire Naganadol deck from previous tournaments. You set up a critical mass of energy in play, and then you have different attackers for different matchups, and you just really switch between those. Really utilizes the Weavile GX from Unified Minds, and he just needs to get focused on getting his basics set up first, and then if you can do that, it's easy sailing from there.
Yeah, that is easier said than done. I think a lot of the times I've talked to a couple of players who think that the Dark Toolbox deck, as we call it, is kind of too inconsistent, too clunky, and that's why they've avoided it. But looks like it's working out for Zakary here.
Yeah, pretty well. 4-0-1 start. Has not taken a loss today, but that tie is a little detrimental for his plans for day 2.
Kenny's going to start things off just playing a Cynthia, resetting his hand.
Yeah, it's not too bad. He is playing that Pikachu and Zekrom deck. It utilizes all the best cards for this Lightning type. Detonate GX, you have Electromagnetic Radar, Cherish Ball added to the deck, and then one of the new tag teams for the deck is the Raichu Alolan Raichu GX. Being able to tandem shock to bring an you bring an active tandem shock 160 paralyzed, and then it also GX attack can just take knockouts on any other tag team GX with just an electro power.
Yeah, I think one of the kind of prevailing thoughts going into this World Championship, of course, was that post-rotation, the Pikachu and Zekrom GX deck just lost the least of any of the big decks.
Yeah.
And it also got the Raichu that you were just talking about. That's obviously a huge gain. And so I think it was kind of the obvious #1 deck that was still going to be good, still going to be competitive, and a bunch of people are playing it today.
Yeah, I think probably the only thing that really hurt it was losing something like Nest Ball. You lose a lot of your consistent search for Tapu Koko Prism, probably the most important card in your deck other than Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, we do lose some of that search, but we also have its own little version of search with Electromagnetic Radar here, of course. Cannot get that Tapu Koko Prism Star, but it can get the 2 big tag teams in the deck.
Yeah, this is not too bad. He did play that Cynthia already, but he has a Volkner for next turn in his hand, and Volkner is one of the supporter cards that really puts this deck over the edge. Just being able to set up your combo, essentially. Like, this is a very fast deck, but you're really just trying to do one thing, and that's full blitz as early as possible.
Yeah, fast deck indeed, as we saw Jason Anacario beat his opponent in, I think, like 6 total combined turns or something in the match. So definitely goes to show you how powerful and how aggressive this Pikachu and Zekrom deck can be. So, Jeremy, tell me, absent of any other context, absent of the exact deck lists or how the first couple turns have gone for these players, what do you think of the matchup in general? Who's favored here?
So it's really iffy. This Dark Toolbox deck really needs to get a few Sneasels in play, the Poipoles, and just I'm going to try to keep energy in play, and then from then I'll eventually overwhelm you. The thing is, like, I just don't know if you might have enough time. This deck also has in the past been featuring a lot of super scoop ups, and that is one card that actually could save like a couple prizes and steal them away from Kenny.
I believe we saw a couple of Sneasel prized as well.
Yes.
That could end up being a really big problem for Zakary there if you're saying that he just needs to set up as many as possible, and it looks like he might have to actually pass his first turn with only 1, depending on what the next couple of draws are like.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty different. Zachary's actually not opting for Super Scoop Up in his list. He's going with 3 B strings. Just being able to get those energy in play, and then you can move them around once they're in play.
Interesting way to go with the deck. We saw B-String actually play a big part in the Blacephalon GX deck that we saw win on camera earlier. Hopefully maybe B-String can do the same thing for Zakary here as he has to pass back to Kenny.
Yeah, this is the one detrimental thing. Those 2 Sneasel prized. Sneasel in the active spot, wasn't able to move it. And then you have that Ditto, but no other like Poipole or anything there. So he's going to really be put in a position where if Kenny takes a knockout, he's going to be so far behind.
Yeah, and again, I think this is one of the major issues that a lot of players had with this deck is that you already you have to set up so much and you have so many moving parts, and then when you get in a situation like this, which mind you is unfortunate, you have 2 price Sneasels and you can't move the active one. But when you get in a position like this, it can just be really hard to win the game starting on the 2nd turn.
All right, so Volkner nabs Kenny the Stadium Nav, and this is one of the new cards out of Unified Minds that has really put this deck over the edge. It is essentially a timer ball, but for stadiums. And so you flip 2 coins, he gets 1 head, searches deck for a stadium, that equals your Thunder Mountain Prism.
Yeah, all you need is 1 heads. We've seen it fail a few times on camera today, but did not fail for Kenny as we got that Thunder Mountain, very, very powerful Prism Stadium.
So now, depending on his hand, I know he has the energy from the Volkner. He will be able to attack with the Zeraora if it's active. But if he has an energy switch, he'll be able to full blitz, which is exactly what you want to do.
Cherish Ball, another new addition that one of the things I think makes all the GX decks good, but especially this one, just adds that little boost of consistency.
Yeah, this is tough because I believe I see Denine GX in his hand. So he could opt to attach to the bench Pikachu and Zekrom Denine GX to hope to get the energy switch. But if you whiff, you don't take the knockout. That means he's able to evolve this Sneasel, evolve the Ditto into a Naganadel if he wants to.
It's high risk, high reward turn here for Kenny. We'll have to see exactly what he puts together.
And
looks like that's what he's going for. Electro Power, attachment to the Pikachu and Zekrom GX onto the bench, and now the Dene comes down 6 fresh cards for Kenny Britton.
Yeah, opts to discard the Zeraora GX that he got with that Cherish Ball. And, ooh, off the 6 cards, he gets a tag switch, but unfortunately, since he started that Zeraora GX, it's not able to move the energy off it because it only moves from a tag team to another Pokemon. So he will be able to attack if he wants to tag switch off the Pikachu.
We're going to see a reset stamp first, another card that's going to make a huge splash at both this tournament and in the future of the format.
All right, so one thing he can do, he got that Zapdos. He can tag switch to the Zap. Oh, no, he attacks for free. Even better.
Yeah, just have the Thunder Mountain there. There's the knockout. Sneasel is down. Kenny takes a prize. And now, again, we maybe even thought that Zakary was already kind of on the back foot with just the matchup, but now with 1 Sneasel maximum available to him, Kenny's already up a prize. This is going to be a hard road to battle back for Zakary.
Yeah, one good thing, though, for Zakary is that Kenny played that reset stamp last turn. And this turn, he's really going to look to Rogue Ring to search his deck and build his turn.
Yeah, I was going to say, the reset stamp on 6 is not exactly what you're usually trying to do, but sometimes you just have to.
All right, does get that Weavile GX thanks to that Cherish Ball, and then plays down a Hapu. I think this is one of the first times we've seen this card on stream today.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen it yet. Zakary going to go ahead and compare what he sees on the top of his deck to his hand, make sure he chooses the right cards.
Yeah, it's really hit or miss. So it's very reminiscent of the old supporter Sage's training that we've had from Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Look at the top 5, pick 2, discard 3. This one's look at the top 6, pick 2, discard 4. Some might say, well, that's not really that much of a big difference, but it's a lot of resources that you might be losing in a format where it's really hard to recover them.
Yeah, the resource trade really, I think, is the important part there. With a lot of the old Sage's training decks, you were okay with discarding cards. Your discard pile just was another resource, which may not be the case here. We see the Thunder Mountain go away.
Yeah, Dark City, another new stadium from Unified Minds, giving your basic Dark Pokemon free retreat. It's very good in this type of deck, allowing you to just switch to different attackers as you please.
Saw Kenny pick up the Dark Stadium, read it, just make sure he knew what was going on, and now we're going to see a pass. Action is back on Kenny.
Oh, that's so disappointing. Energy Switch was the top card for Kenny here. That always seems to happen.
Now we have to see an attachment to that. Zapdos, of course, if it wants to attack, it will have to attack the fairway like our ancestors did using energy cards.
Yeah, his hand doesn't look too strong, though. I think just the Cynthia has that energy switch. I don't know if he wants to play it just yet, but there we go. He will need 1 more if he wants to full blitz this turn.
There's a Cynthia, like you said, going to reset his hand of 6 cards.
And honestly, if for the Pikachu's and Zekrom deck, if you're not really full blitzing for the first 3 turns, I kind of feel like I'll take that. Like, yeah, you don't get energy in play, I'll get set up, get mine in play.
Right. That's kind of the big advantage of the Pikachu and Zekrom deck is that you really want to be attacking early, being aggressive, getting the energy set up, and when you don't do that, your deck just doesn't function like it's supposed to.
Yeah, Zapdos can only take you so far, and especially staring down a board of all GX Pokemon except for that Poipole, it's not looking good. All right, but looking at that hand, and no, I do not see anything. He has that Denine GX. He will be able to discard his hand and try to dig for it yet again. He does have that Electro Power, but he would need one more to take the knockout, because I believe Hoopa has 190 HP. Oh, he's going for it.
He's going in.
Oh, he has it. Okay.
There's the energy switch.
But now he has to decide. He can either Electropower, Denine, try to go for another one, but he's already wasted one earlier on in the turns. Or he can Tag Bolt, take the knockout, but then you're left without a GX attack, and the Raichu, Alolan Raichu's GX attack is probably your best bet against a deck like this Dark Box.
And it looks like he's going to take the more conservative route, not wasting any resources, not using up his GX attack, and just fueling up a bunch of energy onto that Raichu Alolan Raichu GX.
And that's probably the best thing. Again, it's so hard to recover resources in this format unless you're playing something like Oranguru Resource Management. You really can't get back a lot of those cards.
Yeah, resources aren't just free. It really matters. So I think it's a really good disciplined play by Kenny there to just not discard any cards, not worry about doing the maximum he could that turn, and sitting back and just saying, I'm going to need these cards later. I'm OK with waiting yet another turn. Yeah,
the one unfortunate thing, though, is Zakary was able to just keep the 2 cards that he searched for in his hand. And now we'll see what he's going to be able to do with them. It might have been at least the Custom Catcher, because he has 2 of them.
That he does. Custom Catcher also a big part of this format now.
All right, there is the first Naganadel in play, charging up 3 energy in play now for your treat. Thanks to the Stadium, means he will be able to attack with that Darkrai and Umbreon GX if he wants to.
Considering his options is Zakary. It looks like he actually, we thought he was going to have a little bit bad of a start. Kenny got a quick knockout rather. But it looks like Kenny has stumbled just enough to where Zakary might be able to pull back into things. Obviously, the game is far from over.
Yeah. Once you kind of get set up, these decks really just like one-hit blows, one-hit blows, one-hit blows. And you just need to get to that point with this Dark deck. It looks like he might.
Yeah, we just saw a pass from Zakary there.
Yeah, so he Rogue Rings again. All right, so really just setting up his hand. He wants this to get knocked out so he can just slam down a bunch of Beast Rings and then get everything in play.
Yeah, and it feels so good to do that too after we saw Kenny already use the reset stamp. I don't know how many he's playing, but that's got to feel good to just know that your hand is safe.
Yeah, I believe I saw at least 2, but it'll be interesting to see if he actually goes for it with this Volkner here. But no, looks like that Custom Catcher. This is a pretty good option here, especially because there is no other Sneasel on the bench. So if you try to take out this Weavile GX, all his energy that's spread out is going to stay spread out.
Exactly, and we do see those Custom Catchers come into play. And it's actually just going to prompt a concession from Zakary there.
Yeah, having those 2 Sneasel in the prizes means you can't really have many options for you.
Another thing we see players at this level of competition do is, the game clearly wasn't over there in that Kenny had not taken all 6 of his prizes, but Zakary had recognized, okay, my chances of winning this game are so low, I think I need to just give this one up, go on to the next game, and hopefully have enough time to win the next 2 games to win the match.
Yeah, and that's hard because you saw his setup was all right for what he was dealing with, but since he only had that one Weavile, it's your whole basis for your deck. And if that's gone and you don't prepare for that, then there's nothing really you can do.
Well, the scary part, too, if I'm Zakary here, is that Kenny didn't have a very aggressive start. Obviously,
not at all. He did have the Zapdos knockout, though, and that probably sealed the game for him.
Right. That early turn, and it's so... I just got to believe that if you need multiple Sneasels and you need your opponent to have a bad start and you need this and you need that, I just got to believe that it's got to be hard to actually pull off a win, in 2 out of 3.
Yeah, but Zachary's somehow done it 4 times, and he's looking to do it a 5th time here. He's going to have to make the comeback, though, winning the next 2.
Yeah, got to win the next 2 straight to advance. Again, these players are 4-0-1, taking unfortunate draws. So 1 win will not lock them up for day 2, but they'll have 2 more shots at just 1 more win, which, you know, that's a 50-50 shot. Hopefully whoever wins can get there. Yeah. Do you think anything changes now with Zakary having the ability to go first and hopefully being able to, you know, set up more Sneasels or anything like that?
Yeah, well, it's really deceiving. So you see this Pikachu and Zekrom deck always be really fast. Like Emery, Taylor, just dominating.
Sure.
North American Internationals. You have Jason earlier on stream just dominating. But the thing is, it's really just its own setup combo deck. And if you have a turn to just attach an energy and then set up your hand for next turn to get it, it's even better. And that's what we saw Kenny do. So being able to get the first like evolutions in play before your opponent can actually pull off a good full blitz, it's going to be amazing.
Looks like players are shaking hands. Game 2 is just underway. Kenny, Britton, and Zakary Krekeler looking to inch ever closer to the second day of competition here at the 2019 World Championship.
Yeah, it looks like he started that Mega Sableye Tyranitar GX, I believe.
Looks like we're going to see a Cherish Ball to start things off for Zakary. Again, he does get to go first here, make the first actions, hopefully play some Sneasels to evolve over the next few turns.
Yeah, and you see that Tapu Koko Prism on Kenny's bench. That is a great sign if you're a Pikachu and Zekrom player. Being able to just, yeah, I have it. I don't need to search for it. I don't need to waste a Pokemon communication off of my electromagnetic radar to put back a card that I'll need just so I can get this guy in play. We didn't even see it last game, but it's probably just an all-star.
Oh, it's hugely important. I mean, it's one of the things that makes the deck work and can really swing the games by so much.
Pokegear for Zakary here. A few different options, but opts to take none of them. Probably has that Lily in his hand already. And there's that Mega Sableye and Tyranitar GX. That Greedy Crush is really what it's in there for. 210 damage for 5 energy. Take an extra prize card if it was a GX or an EX.
Right, Jeremy, he does have that Lily. Perfect support card to play on the first turn, but
not perfect.
Do you have anything else?
Don't have any basics.
That's the pass. Wow.
And this is the problem people have been having with this Dark Toolbox deck. It is just not consistent enough to find the basic Pokemon. Your only really guaranteed basic search in this format is something like Pokemon Fan Club. And when you're playing that card in your deck, it's not really going to be a fun time.
Right. Gone are the days of things like Nest Ball, of course, due to the rotation, and it may end up punishing Zakary here pretty hard.
And I actually like this Cynthia here. You need a little bit more cards. If you can get an electromagnetic radar off the top, it'll be pretty amazing because then you turn on the free retreat from that Dawnwings Necrozma thanks to the Zeraora GX. And then maybe you can even find yourself something like a Zapdos.
Yes, talk to me a little about that Dawnwings Necrozma. I think if you're just tuning into the stream, you don't really follow the game on a deep level, and you see this Dawnwings Necrozma in the big
deck
lightning,
with all lightning
yeah, the big lightning GX deck. What is this doing for the deck?
Well, so Zeraora GX has an ability called Thunderclap Zone. Probably the best ability name in the game. Gives all your Pokemon free retreat that have a lightning energy attached to it. So with Dawnwings Necrozma GX, you're able to Invasion, bring it active, and then if it has lightning, you have free retreat, so you just retreat to the Pokemon you want. Well, it goes really well with this deck because you have cards like Zapdos and Raichu Alolan Raichu GX that do more damage if they're brought into the active this turn.
Right, so that's just a free way to accomplish that, whereas usually you'd have to retreat the old-fashioned way. Looks like Kenny's actually just passing the turn as well.
Yeah, again, he did what he wants to do. He might have a few more resources next turn, but all he really needs to get going is probably something like a Volkner.
Right, just making energy attachments and passing the turn is Kenny's plan.
All right, this Cynthia is big from Zakary here. He's going to need to find at least Sneasel. There's a Ditto, but oh no, nothing too much else. He's going to probably have to then change this hand away to at least find another Sneasel and maybe a Poipole as well. But no, opts to keep him.
Opts to pass the turn, action back on Kenny now. Zakary not concerned with getting too many Sneasels into play, at least not at the cost of all the resources in his hand.
Oh, that is a good-looking hand. You have that Volkner, you have Stadium Nav as well as an Electropower Zapdos, so you have plenty of options here, and it's almost, oh, I don't know, he does not have the way to get the Zeraora without not getting the energy switch.
Right, so this Volkner will be interesting to see what Kenny can put together here. He has a lot of options, but it sounds
he has
like he doesn't have. Sorry?
He has the energy switch, so he can get Electromagnetic Radar or something like Cherish Ball, get that Zeraora out, and then he'll be able to full blitz this turn if he gets heads on that Stadium Nav.
Yeah, getting heads on Stadium Nav is definitely not a guarantee. I've seen some players miss that entirely on camera this weekend.
Looking through his options, Volkner is just one of those cards that really completes this deck. You have a lot of kind of items that you're like, oh, this will be good. And you're like, okay, well, I'm going to reset Stamp you this turn, or I'm going to get this tag switch so I can pull off a big tag bolt this turn.
Right, an easy way to think about it is you may look at this list and say, well, Kenny plays 1 or 2 reset Stamp, but when you have Volkner in the mix, you actually play 4 to 6, right? Volkner is another out to finding a reset Stamp and searching for those very powerful but maybe situational cards with things like Volkner is really, really important and really brings the deck together.
Yeah, so we actually see Kenny discard the Stadium Nav and the second Volkner from his hand with that Electromagnetic Radar. That's telling me, yeah, it was a prize. We probably saw it earlier. And now he's going to have to go a different route. He can try to go for that Zapdos, put a little bit of chip damage, and I think that's probably the best option because then you could just come in with a Pikachu and Zekrom later and take a knockout with full blitz.
Looks like that's what's going to happen here. We see the Electropower. Zapdos gets moved into the active position. Energy switch onto the Pikachu and Zekrom GX, and a Dead change.
All right, so fresh 6 cards here, and Kenny is rolling right now on his turn. Must be feeling pretty nice against his opponent that has really nothing going.
Yeah, just the difference in the boards of Kenny and Zakary here. Kenny not exactly attacking with the Pikachu and Zekrom or going off in a huge way, but chipping in with this Zapdos here, having a bunch of Pokemon in play, spreading in some energy around. A decent few opening turns from Kenny Britton here.
Yeah, it would have been pretty just demoralizing for Zakary if Kenny got that double custom catcher off that Dead change. But there we go, 110 damage on the active. And Zakary now has an option. He will be able to get Weavile GX in play this turn if he wants. He has it in his hand. It's the reason he didn't Dead change last turn. And now it's just going to be, he's going to need a lot of help off the top of his deck. Probably a Dark City, and then he's going to need an energy, and then at least a Pokemon he can attack with. Well, he has the energy there.
Yeah, a lot of help Zakary will need indeed.
Oh.
I feel like this is a situation that a lot of these Dark Toolbox players get into, which is, I'm going to need some help, but man, if I get it, it's over.
And then there is the Greninja and Zoroark GX tag team. One of the cards that people kind of play in the deck, they kind of don't. You just get mixed opinions on it, like, well, I really love the card, or, no, the card's trash. But it attacks for 2 energy, and it has a damage output that isn't really capped. Like, you can just get a bunch of energy in play and knock out pretty much anything.
Right. Earlier we talked about that being one of the potential, positives of the Blacephalon GX deck is the ability to just do a bunch of damage, go over the top of people, and this Zoroark and Greninja tag team kind of does the same thing.
Yeah, and he had the Dark City, so he will have free retreat. Now it's just deciding on what he wants to attack with this turn. He could Rogue Ring with Hoopa, set up for next turn, or actually get some damage going here. I don't believe it's a knockout. It might be.
That big tag team moved into the active position. Energy moved to it. Looks like player's going to take a bit to read the card and count the damage.
All right, so it's
knockout.
30 plus, I believe, then. So it does 120 total.
So Zapdos down.
Zakary striking first this game. not too bad, but he's going to be staring down this Pikachu and Zekrom that's going to look to attack next turn.
Yeah, not usually what you see from the Pikachu and Zekrom GX decks, but both times Kenny has had a little bit slower of a start than usual. Let's see what he can put together here.
Well, he does have that Tapu Koko Prism on the bench. He does have an energy switch as well, so he'll be able to attack this turn. You never really want to use Dance of the Ancients for just one energy, but sometimes you have to, and if you do it, you're going to at least get a full blitz out of it.
Yeah, there's the attachment from the discard pile. There's the energy switch onto the active Pikachu and Zekrom. Attachment from the hand.
Lysander Lab, a card that isn't really relevant in this matchup specifically, but it's more so that you can just bump that Dark City from play.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a position right now in the format where there's lots of really important stadiums, and you almost need to play your own stadiums just to be able to knock out other people's stadiums, which is, I think, actually really cool. I love it when formats are like that, where stadiums actually matter.
And this is awkward for Kenny here, having to Dede change his hand away, discarding 2 Lightning and a Custom Catcher, especially after using that Tapu Koko Prism. Those Lightning are in there for good.
Yeah, those are gone again. A lot of the game right now is focused on resources and how you can manage them. Kenny had to do what he had to do, but it cannot feel good to discard those Lightning energy.
Yeah, drawing into a hand that isn't really that going well for him. He does have a double reset stamp, so reset stamp, Zakary back down to 5, and then let's hope this is good enough. Unfortunately, he does not have another tag team on the bench. Usually try to full blitz to something like that Raichu, Alolan Raichu.
Right, so then they can really benefit from all that energy, like a Pikachu and Zekrom GX.
Gets that Pikachu and Zekrom down, and that's exactly what you want to see here, just because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket on your active.
Do you think you would rather have the Raichu and Alolan Raichu or the Pikachu and Zekrom in this spot?
I love Raichu, Alolan Raichu. That card's insane, especially if your opponent's not really playing outs to the paralysis. And then the fact that for 5 energy only and an Electro Power, you can knock out anything in Zachary's deck.
Yeah, quite the powerful addition to this deck. I'm also a pretty big fan of that card.
Although with the way the damage is spread about Zachary's board, Tag Bolt does look pretty appetizing here.
Yeah, you can't complain about a Tag Bolt that's going to take a bunch of prizes and knock a bunch of energy.
Yeah, I'll take 6 prizes in one turn. It's fine.
I accept.
All right, Zakary going deep in the tank here. Has 6 cards in hand. Pokemon Communication. Has something like Denene he can find if he does not have any draw. But looks like he's eyeing down that Weavile GX to evolve that second Sneasel. And again, one thing he's missing from this board is those Naganadels in play. And again, he plays 3 B-String to combo with them, so it could be a little awkward.
Yeah, no acceleration on either side of things here for Zakary. Kind of an awkward setup that he has now, just attaching 1 energy per turn, a bunch of damage on his board. Looks like he's just going to go ahead and retreat.
Yeah, and this is not good. You're giving up 2 energy from play to retreat just so you could set up for next turn. But a simple tag switch, tag bolt, maybe some custom catchers come into play. It's going to be rough next few turns.
Yeah, definitely not how Zakary envisioned this game going over the early turns, I don't think. But he's got to do what he's got to do to try and stay in this. Set up for next turn. Does cost him some energy, but if he's going to win this game, he needs to actually set up for next turn and really make a difference.
Yeah, thankfully for Kenny, he does have the second reset stamp that he got off that Dede change last turn. So he will be able to kind of just like, you like those cards? Take them away.
Must be nice.
And there we go. Oh, how heartbreaking.
It's got to be so demoralizing. It's like when you used to Dramp a GX attack, shuffle, draw 10, and you just get end immediately every time.
It's pretty much how it goes. In testing, a lot it happened with that Whimsicott, because it's Toy Box GX, search for 5 cards. Same thing. Double Electro Power coming down, and that will be enough to take the knockout with full blitz here from the active. Now charging up his bench, most likely, and we'll probably see a Tag Bolt to finish off the game next turn.
And this just shows the raw power of the Pikachu and Zekrom deck, just taking knockouts after knockouts. They have things that search for their Pokemon. They have things that boost their damage. They can accelerate energy. They can just basically do everything that all of these other decks are trying to do, but so much easier.
Oh, and look at that. There's 2
Yeah,
V-strings, 3 dark energies in his hand, and Zakary has nothing else. He will lose 2 pretty quick games here to Kenny, and Kenny is now 1 win away from making day 2 here at the World Championships.
Yeah, congratulations to Kenny. Those didn't even look close. That's how I felt with so many different matchups with the Pikachu and Zekrom deck, is I just feel like you're just doing everything so efficiently. You're attacking quickly. You're accelerating energy. I think this deck is great. Obviously, everyone